I'm 29 years old, I'm 5'4", and up until about 3 months ago I would have told you I had thick skin about it. I've been the short guy my whole life. I made peace with it somewhere around 11th grade. So when I say what happened at work finally broke that peace, I need you to understand it wasn't one comment. It was 14 months, documented, dated, and it ended with a client account we lost and a promotion I almost didn't get. I work as an account manager at a mid-sized marketing agency in Columbus, Ohio. 22 people on staff, tight-knit, the kind of place where everyone eats lunch together in the same kitchen and there's a Slack channel just for memes. I liked my job. I was good at it. My numbers were consistently in the top third of the team. Then in March of last year, a woman named Amanda joined as a senior account manager. She's 34, over a decade of experience, and she brought in 2 of our biggest retail clients within her first 6 months. Genuinely talented at the job. Also, from basically day one, fixated on my height. It started small, the way these things always do. "Aw, you're so cute and little," she said during her first week, ruffling my hair like I was a kid at a family barbecue. I laughed it off, because what do you do in week 1 with a new coworker? Then it became a nickname, Pocket Derek. Then in team meetings she'd say things like, "Can someone get Derek a booster seat?" if I sat in a tall chair by the window. Everyone laughed. I laughed too. By that summer it had a life of its own. There was a running bit in our team, Slack channel, where people would tag me in memes of small dogs standing next to big dogs, captioned Derek walking into the office. Amanda started it, but 2 other coworkers, Priya and Tom, joined in because it got laughs every time. I want to be fair here. Nobody was outright cruel about it, not in a way that felt like bullying at the time. It felt more like being the office mascot, which is its own specific kind of exhausting, but I told myself it was harmless. I was 28 when it started. I'd been at the company 3 years by then, longer than almost anyone except Craig, our manager. The thing that actually mattered happened on September 9th. We had a pitch meeting with a regional grocery chain, a potential account worth roughly $340,000 a year in contract value if we landed it. I'd been prepping the deck for 3 weeks, staying late twice to nail the supply chain messaging section because I knew it was the piece that would make or break the room. 15 minutes into the meeting, I made a strong point about how their current messaging buried their biggest differentiator, and I watched the client's VP actually nod and lean forward. Amanda turned to him, smiling, and said, "He's got a big personality for someone so small, doesn't he?" The VP laughed. I smiled because I had to, but I watched the entire tone of the room shift in about 4 seconds. I went from the guy who understood their supply chain problem to the funny short guy for the rest of that meeting. Every question after that came with a slightly amused edge, like they were being generous by taking me seriously. We didn't get the account. Their procurement lead emailed Craig 2 weeks later saying they'd gone with an agency that felt more established. I'm not saying that one comment lost us 40,000. I'm saying I sat in my car in the parking garage afterward for almost 10 minutes before I could make myself drive home, and that had never happened to me before over a work meeting. I talked to Amanda about it privately the following Monday, over coffee in the break room, just the 2 of us. I kept my voice calm. I said something like, "Hey, I know the height stuff is mostly a joke, but I'd really appreciate if you didn't bring it up in front of clients. It undercuts me in the room." She looked genuinely caught off guard, said, "Oh my God, I didn't even think about it that way. I'm sorry, that's fair." And for about 2 weeks, it actually stopped. I remember feeling relieved, like a normal adult conversation had just fixed a normal adult problem. Then it came back, quieter but steady. A comment about big things and small packages. The day I closed a $60,000 renewal, a gif of a chihuahua barking furiously at a Great Dane, posted in the group chat the afternoon after I disagreed with her in a strategy meeting, tagged with my name and 3 laughing emojis from Tom. When I brought it up to her a second time in late October, she got defensive fast. I already apologized once. "You're being sensitive, Derek. It's not that deep." She used some version of "you're being sensitive" 4 more times over the following 2 months, and every single time it made me feel like I was the one with the problem, not her comments. In November, Craig did annual reviews. I'd been working toward a promotion to senior account manager, which came with an $8,000 raise and would have put me at the same title level as Amanda. My numbers backed it up. I'd closed the year at a 12% of quota, best on the team after Amanda herself. In my review, Craig told me I was talented but still building presence and gravitas with clients, and that they'd revisit the promotion in 6 months, around May. I asked him directly what presence meant. He kind of shrugged in his chair and said, "You know, how you carry yourself in the room, how clients read you." I didn't push it that day, but it sat wrong with me for weeks, especially since my client satisfaction scores were higher than almost anyone else's on the team. I started going back through old Slack messages in December, not with any real plan, just because I needed to see if I was imagining a pattern or not. I screenshotted things, wrote down dates, pulled the exact quote from the September pitch meeting from my own notes, since I jotted down client reactions afterward out of habit. When I laid all 14 months of it out end to end on a single document, it stopped looking like teasing. It looked like something that had followed me directly into a client pitch and quite possibly into a promotion decision. In January, I brought it to Craig first, not HR. I told him I thought the height comments, especially the one in the grocery chain pitch, had actually damaged my credibility with a client, and I asked whether that had factored into his presence comment on my review. He got visibly uncomfortable. He said Amanda was just playful and that he didn't want to make this into a whole thing because she was one of the top billers on the team. That was the moment it clicked for me that nothing was going to change unless I went above him. I filed the formal complaint with HR on January 22nd. I brought the timeline, the screenshots, and dates going back to the previous March. The HR manager, a woman named Denise, took it seriously in a way Craig hadn't. She interviewed me for almost an hour, then Amanda, then Priya and Tom separately, and two other employees who'd been in the room for the September pitch. Here's the part that made me second-guess the entire thing. Word got out within days because of course it did in an office our size. Priya stopped inviting me to lunch. Tom sent me a Slack message that just said, "Damn HR over jokes?" Amanda didn't speak to me directly at all, but I heard secondhand that she'd told people I was trying to ruin her career because I couldn't take being teased. For almost 2 weeks, I felt like the villain in my own story. I actually drafted a message to Denise asking to withdraw the complaint entirely. I never sent it, but I typed it out and stared at it more than once at 11 at night. The investigation wrapped in mid-February. Denise called me into her office and told me they'd substantiated a pattern of comments, specifically flagging the September pitch incident as a violation of the company's respectful workplace policy. Amanda received a formal written warning and was required to complete workplace conduct training within 30 days. Separately, and this genuinely surprised me, Denise said she'd flagged the presence and gravitas language in my November review as potentially influenced by the same pattern, and she asked Craig to have my evaluation redone by an outside reviewer from our parent company. In March, I got the promotion. The $8,000 raise came through retroactive to January. You'd think that's the satisfying ending, and financially, professionally, it was. But the team fractured in a way I hadn't fully braced for. Amanda went cold, understandable I guess, though she never apologized to me directly, just stopped talking to me except in required meetings. Priya came around after a few weeks and admitted, over lunch that we finally had again in late March, that she felt bad about the memes once she actually understood the pitch meeting comment had cost me a client relationship, not just my pride. Tom never really did come around. We're polite but distant now, the kind of coworkers who nod in the hallway. Craig avoids extended conversation with me in a way that tells me he knows he handled the whole thing badly from the start. The thing that's been eating at me happened over dinner in April with my older brother Mike, who's 34 and works in finance. I told him the whole story expecting him to fully back me up, and instead he asked, "Did you ever think about just laughing it off longer or finding a way to shut it down yourself without going to HR? You basically ended her reputation on that team." I didn't have a clean answer for him. I know what she said in that pitch meeting cost me something real. I know the pattern was documented, dated, and confirmed by 2 independent witnesses, not something I invented in my head. But I also know that filing that complaint, in an office our size, doesn't stay contained, and some people who used to like me now see me as the guy who nukes a coworker's career over what they'd call jokes. It's been about 3 months since the ruling came down. I still like the job. I still think I did the right thing. But I go into that kitchen at lunch some days, and it's quieter around me than it used to be, and I can't decide if that's a fair price for what I got back. So, Reddit, AITA for reporting my coworker to HR after 14 months of height jokes, even though it got her formally disciplined, cost her standing with half the team, and fixed a promotion I'd been unfairly denied.